Michelle, you were one of the real pioneers of women's MMA in the UFC, and you've had an amazing career, and you should be proud.
It doesn't matter, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 hours. It doesn't matter. This is what I live for. Get 50K
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. Please tell me that's on video. I've never been happier. I'm made for a fucking podcast. That's dangerous. Listen to me, we're out of here.
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. I'm going to be joined by Matt Serra shortly. He's having some computer issues. We're all kind of having them today. On the show today, very, very shortly, we're going to bring in Michelle Waterson-Gomez, who has been patiently waiting for 9 minutes, and Dan Ige will be joining us today. I am in a hotel in California, and Matt is having computer issues, so this should be really fun. Why don't we bring in Michelle Waterson-Gomez and just begin saying hello to her, because she's been waiting for a while, and then Matt will just jump in. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sorry for the wait. We're all having computer issues today. I'm in a hotel. Matt's on his phone, so apologies for the wait.
No worries. I understand technical difficulties.
How are you? How are you doing? Like in the week since the fight, how is your headspace, and how are you adjusting to knowing that you don't have a camp? All that stuff.
I think a week, is much different. It's given me a lot more time to kind of just decompress and think about everything. Last week I did a couple interviews and I was still super fresh and still very emotional, but I'm in a good place actually.
And when this decision was made, how long before the fight did you determine that this is what you were going to do? This was going to be your last fight? And did you say win, lose, or draw, this is the last one?
I did. I made that decision when I took the fight. Yeah, it was just one of those things that I wasn't taking the fight going in. I didn't want anybody to know really, but I did take the fight knowing for myself, from my family, from my teammates, that it was going to be my last one. I wanted to give it my all, and I wanted to enjoy the process. I wanted to fall back in love with fighting. And I didn't want the rest of the world to know, because I didn't want them to think I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was all the way in.
Is there any point where, like, when you know this is your last fight, like there's a party that's like, oh God, this is the last time I do this. This is the last time I get to do that. But is there also the other part of you where you're like, ugh, thank God this is the last time I have to do this? Like with certain things in training that you didn't want to do, was there a certain relief that there's certain things you're not going to have to do again?
It's funny. I thought I would have relief in those things, like the hard sparring days and the weight cut and all those things. But honestly, as they came to, it was very bittersweet. I was very sad. My last sparring session with all my training partners, giving it their all, me giving it my all afterwards. We went, you go to take the sweaty selfies, and it just kind of dawned on me that this was the last time that my teammates are going to be there for me, for my fight camp. And I started tearing up. It might be too that, like, towards the end of my fight camp, it was my time of the month, so I was emotional anyways. But it all came to a head, and honestly, I couldn't ask for a better fight camp. I couldn't ask for a better opponent, a better fight card to be on. The only thing I would ask for a redo is to get a different outcome, but it is what it is.
Michelle, Matt just joined us. He was having some computer issues, but Matt is in now. And Matt, we literally just started talking about Michelle's feelings leading up to the fight, her final fight. When you had your last fight, Matt, did you know it was going to be your final fight beforehand, or did you make the decision after?
No, well, first of all, hi, Michelle. I'm sorry for Michelle, how's your husband when he's home alone with the kids? Because my wife took my oldest 2 daughters to nationals dance in Virginia Beach. So I'm with my youngest, and I'm teaching jiu-jitsu. She's like my sidekick. I'm all over the place. But I apologize for being a little late. How's your husband when he's all alone with the kids? Is he calling you, asking you for help?
When daughter was very very young, when I was still breastfeeding, it was crazy for him because he didn't have what he needed to keep her calm, you know. But when I was out in Wales shooting the movie, I was out for 6 months, and the only thing that my daughter had issues with is basically her diet was steak and eggs and bacon, you know, for 6 months because that's what daddy ate. So
You came back and she was jacked when you came back. But it gets. How old is your daughter now?
she's 13.
Oh, so I have a 13-year-old also, but that's now it's cute, right? I see you starting to. When you get older, you get a little bit more emotional in general, don't you think? Listen. I cry all the time. Ask Jimmy about my kids.
Matt is very. It's probably Matt's nicest quality is that he does get very emotional. And I don't have kids, but I get emotional watching other people get emotional. Like I was watching you and Joe when you were talking, and they were showing the little square, and it was very emotional for you to see all the love you were getting. And I was getting choked up watching it. It was really nice to see. It's nice to see a fighter be able to enjoy everybody appreciating what they've done, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sometimes like when you got your head down and you're just grinding it out, it's hard to see those things. It's hard. And especially, you know, the MMA world is just so unforgiving, and fans sometimes forget that we're human and that they say things that, you know, kind of like they hit deep, and it can kind of make you a little bit bitter towards the sport. But you know, I left that octagon with such a full heart, and I was just so grateful for my career, 100%.
Amazing career, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on. I mean, some of your fights, so entertaining. And I say this every time you're on, but I love your sidekick. You have a great sidekick.
Matt, I wish, you know, like this would have been like. I mean, obviously, after any fight, it's kind of like that shoulda, woulda, coulda, like quarterback Mondaying it, you know. I know I had everything. I had all the right tools and skills to beat her. I just to have it translate over when it matters is the most important, right? And it just did not translate over, and I think that's kind of just solidifies my decision to walk away from it because I do have the skills to. I do have the skills to beat her, and it didn't translate over, and so I kind of just have to like know when to fold them, and it breaks my heart. But I'm pretty excited for the next chapter.
And can I tell you though? I'm sorry, Jimmy. As somebody that was in there, and when a fight is still fresh, oh man, there's some that woulda, shoulda, coulda. It's a real thing. Coming from a guy that ate a bunch of back fists, trust me. You know. I mean, hindsight's always going to be 20/20, but now, as a dude that's been away from the game, I'm 50 now. My last fight was at like 36. There's not one fight, one back fist or anything that keeps me up at night. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. So I'm sure you're gonna look at your fight. This is still fresh, and again, it's one of those things. Another girl would have been arm locked in that first, you know, exchange. So one thing with the jiu-jitsu is it is rough when like you were with somebody that good. It's just hard to regain some ground back. You know what I mean? It gets a little frustrating. No,
right.
What do you think?
I was just thinking like, you know, the whole camp, it was I have pretty good jujitsu, and I think I did a really good job at escaping her mount and all of those things. But, you know, I think when you get wrapped up in the jujitsu game, sometimes you lose sight that there are other options because it is MMA. And throughout fight camp, the option was, you know, okay, go for your subs, go for top position. But if you don't get those things, stand up, you know? Yeah. And I think just sometimes you can get caught in the grappling aspect of it, you know?
Did you see instances afterwards, if you watched it, that, all right, this was an exchange when I should have actually gotten away? I know it is easier when you rewatch it.
I haven't rewatched the fight.
Okay, listen. Hey, I don't blame you. The ones I watched maybe once or twice just to see it, and then you know, and then I go back to watching me knocking out Frank Trigg. But that's just me. You're gonna watch some Jimmy, stop it. But no, listen. You're gonna look back on your career and just be like, wow. What is the next step now? Are you looking forward to just working with up and coming fighters and stuff?
There's so many options, right? There's so many doors that are available and that have opened up to me. Like I said with Joe, my entire career, my daughter has been a part of, and has really taken a lot of sacrifice, both my husband and my daughter. And so I kind of just want to take some time to be in their corner and kind of support them in all of their dreams and aspirations, first and foremost. And secondly, yeah, I'd love to coach. You know, we have a jiu-jitsu school out here. I want to get my black belt. I want to maybe get into the commentating, sports analyzing, acting, whatever comes my way. I kind of just want to see where the road takes me.
Have you done any commentating yet? And is it something that you've started kind of down the road of doing, or have you tried it at all?
Yeah, I've done commentating, and actually between commentating and analyzing, I enjoy commentating more because it's live and you don't have to prejudge any of the fighters. And I always would get peeved when some of the analysts, obviously it's their job to kind of guess what's going to happen from a fight, but I always feel like fighters, when they step inside the octagon, are different fighters every time. And so to kind of like prejudge a fighter and to put that out there, I always thought that was unfair. Obviously, I understand that's kind of what the job entails. But yeah, I've done analyzing, I've done commentating, and I really do enjoy it. And it keeps me in the MMA world. And one of the reasons why I stayed in the MMA world for so long is because of the challenges that it presents itself, because of the people you surround yourself with in that world. There's no other world like it. It's the most raw and peeled back, and I just have a huge appreciation for true warriors.
With the analyze, how do you call it?
Analysis.
Analysis. I'm sorry, Michelle. You know what you're dealing with. With the analyst work, all right? Hey, producer, cut that up. Make me sound smart. With the analyst work, is it just strictly MMA or something like karate combat? Would you be interested, with your background, to do some analyst work with something like that? I mean,
yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, martial arts to me is just like a revolving door. And I started in karate, and then I continued on learning jiu-jitsu and kempo, Muay Thai, wrestling, and so it's all very interesting and intriguing to me. And I would, whatever door is open, for sure, I'm more than willing to kind of step through.
Now, as somebody who's had so many fights, when you're commentating, do you also consider what's that fighter going to think when they hear it back? Because you've heard back commenting on your fights, and I'm sure once in a while you're like, what? That's bullshit. That's not what's happening.
Yes.
Have you ever been bothered by what commentators have said about what you were doing?
Yeah. Of course, obviously you get bothered. It's your craft, it's your art, and so when somebody is picking it apart, it's gonna poke at some of your insecurities and things like that. But that's kind of what you sign up for when you fight is for people to watch. People get to watch you win or fail on the biggest stage, and that's why not everybody does it.
I'm sorry, Jimmy, with the acting, do you take any lessons and stuff? Or do you just call up Hal Barry and be like, give me some tips? What goes on with that?
There's on my speed dial. No. I have taken acting classes. Actually, before I started fighting, I was going to college, a double majoring in sports medicine and theater. So I got a scholarship to college for theater. And, life just took me in a different direction. And so yeah, I've taken classes. Like I said, I was in Wales shooting a Netflix film with Tom Hardy that should be airing here in the first quarter of next year. So I'm really excited for that to come out. I think with my martial arts background, I think it's kind of a no-brainer.
Did you really have no amateur fights too?
I had probably 3 or 4 kickboxing smokers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And how did your first fight come about? Your first professional fight?
Well, it was supposed to be an amateur fight. But when I started fighting, there were really, it was kind of like you get what you get.
Right.
So it's 2007. And the girl was supposed to fight, ended up falling through, getting injured, whatever it was. And the only other girl, it was like a 2-week notice. The only other girl that was available to fight was a professional fighter that was 2-1, I believe, and they were kind of like take it or leave it. And at that point, I was training with Donald Cerrone, and he, his attitude about fighting and about life was kind of just like, all right, we've already been training, might as well just take it. So I took it.
And did you think when back in 2007 that like how long did you expect to do it for? Did you expect to have like a 17-year professional career? I mean, it really is crazy how long your career has gone. Fighters don't always get that. It's very, very rare fighters get 17-year careers and still leave on their own terms. You left when you were ready to leave. How did you see it playing out when you started?
My biggest goal was to make it into the UFC and be a champ, and I was able to accomplish both of those goals. I wish I was able to accomplish being a champ in the UFC, but it's been an amazing, blessed journey. And you're right, 17 years is almost unheard of for a fighter, and for me to stay in the top 10 for as long as I did in a division where I kind of didn't belong. Before I was fighting at 105 and those girls are my size, and I put on muscle, and I decided to compete against the best in the world at one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC for the women's roster, in my opinion. And I enjoyed my time. I always challenged myself. I never backed down from a challenge that the UFC gave me. And like I said, I have a really bad habit of getting down on myself, and I think it's just kind of like the curse of a fighter is to be like so self-critical, and it can be compounded over everybody else's opinions, and so sometimes you can kind of lose sight of the big picture of things. And I think the fight before this last one, it was rough for me to get back in, but I wanted to do it for myself. I didn't want to walk away from the sport with that bitter taste in my mouth. And so this one last go was for myself, for sure.
Can I say that self-critical thing is, I think that's I don't think that's a bad thing. I have that too. I think a lot of people that achieve, great things or try to achieve great things, they have that because you're always looking to do better, and I mean, I feel that way. I really do.
Yes.
At least at some point you get,
Mm-hmm. And I also just feel like if I want to coach, if I want to teach, that like I kind of feel like I have to like been there, done that type thing. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things that I just feel like I have to have said that I've like gone through the fire,
100%.
And that critical thinking is really good and healthy, but it becomes unhealthy when I stop seeing things that I do well. It's almost like when everything I somehow put in the list of, oh, I fucked that up. That's when it becomes bad, and I'm being critical of myself just for the sake of being critical. So it's
Right.
kind of hard to have the balance of seeing it really accurately and knowing when I've done well and also analyzing when I've done poorly.
No, I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. We can fall into that really easily. And I always tell my daughters, it's so easy to focus on the negative. It sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like between the negative and the positive memories that we have, the negative emotion, the negative memories, they haunt you, and they continue to haunt you. And so you really, I tell her, it's like a garden. Whether you plant seeds for flowers or not, weeds will always grow. So even as you're planting seeds for flowers, you still have to pick the weeds,
Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
That's very true.
The negative thoughts of the weeds, and you rip that shit. I like it. I like that. The espresso's kicking in. I'm sorry, Michelle, but yes, I like that. I can't stand negativity, and it creeps in. You gotta, but things help with that. Like training, I think helps with that tremendously. It just gets those endorphins running, and you just like get going. I don't know.
When Matt, so like when you walked away, did you ever feel like you're in the gym training and you see some of these up and coming cats that are in your weight class and you're like, man, and do you start getting that itch to want to spar to get back in there?
What's funny? Like, listen, I'm 50 now. I still feel dangerous. I'm insane. I feel like I could still destroy people, and I can. But like, the point is, when I walked away, I knew it was time because one, I wasn't just fighting to win. I fought Chris Lytle, my last fight. and I got a decision on Chris when I fought him the first time, and the second time, I know I was coming off of like knocking some guys out, but like I should have fought him small, but I'm like, look, I'm going to take my chances and just try to go toe to toe with him. It was kind of stupid. So one, I was just trying to challenge myself, and the main reason I remember, it was one of the main things, couple of things. I had a health thing too, but I got a call. I remember somebody was talking about me. I don't even remember who it was. It was an Australian guy or something. I forgot who it was. And he mentioned my name. And in the past, and I was getting ready to go to the park with my wife and kid. In the past, if somebody mentioned my name, I'd get very like irked and want to just get something set up with the guy. I didn't give a shit. I'm like, let's go to the park. So I'm like, all right, my mind's, you know what I mean? So I'm starting to be, I wasn't as hungry. Because with me, it's not that I never wanted to be champion, but I always took pride in being able to know that I'm fighting the best guys on the planet, and I could best them on any night. I knew that, but like for me, beating George and doing that underdog thing, that's my movie right there. That's when I walk away, and I'm not the guy. You know what I mean? So I was content, I guess.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you got a beautiful family. It's like, when you're young and you're coming up, you feel like Clubber Lang with the chains around your neck doing the pull-ups. You know what I mean? You got a different kind of hunger.
You're hungry. Yeah, you're hungry.
I feel like I satisfied some stuff. So.
Yeah. No, I understand. The biggest thing for me is like I wanted to erase my losses, and so that's kind of still what eats at me, is that like walking away on an L it still eats at me, but I just have to remind myself that I can win in other places in life.
100%. And again, it really is still so fresh. So like stuff like that, you're going to look back now like, oh, that last fight, you're going to look back at your body of work, and your body of work is amazing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you had a great career, Michelle. I mean, you're one of the most popular fighters in the UFC. People love you. So, I mean, people are sad to see you go, but it was also nice to see you get that tribute. I was really happy to see that. Like, most fighters, again, don't get that type of a package put together for them. Like, it was really nice to see, and it shows you how UFC and how the fans felt about you and feel about you. I mean, we hate to lose you too, because you're one of our more consistent guests. This is your, I think, 10th time on our show.
Yeah, Michelle.
You have to come back when you're going to promote other projects. You're always welcome to come back.
Well, even to discuss the latest event.
Here.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I would love to come back. Yeah. And like I said, I told Dana, I said, I still want to be a part of the family. Like, I'm not walking away from it completely. I just want to have a different role in the MMA world,
And by the way, last question. Dramatic roles or just like Expendable 6 or something? What are you looking for? And an acting agent could be watching this, or like a guest.
Yeah.
Are you looking to do other kind of roles, or are you just being that new age Cynthia Rothrock or whatever? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. I think that I'm open to it all, really. But I think an easy shoe-in would be a martial arts, like a martial art badass, and so that can kind of be like the opening to whatever else is available,
Heck yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Michelle, listen, man, what a role model for your daughter and all young women out there, all the people in general. You're an inspiration, Michelle. And, thank you for everything, your whole career. It's beautiful.
Thank you for having me on. And like I said, my cup is so full, and I wasn't sure I was going to feel if I was going to, walk away and be sad, but I'm very, like you said, I'm content. I'm very content. And I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous for the next chapter, but I know as long as like I applied like the grit and the discipline that I've learned through fighting to whatever else I decide to do in life, that we're going to win.
Yeah. And thanks, Michelle, for coming on so many times with us. And again, we'll see you again. Whenever you want to promote a project, you just come back on and talk to us again. And congratulations on a really impressive career. And you have the love of the organization and the fans, and you've done everything right. So congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
We'll
talk to you again.
Right, take care, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
She's so sweet.
She's a really nice
And
person.
she's so, just carries herself so great and everything. And what a
Yeah.
great representative.
And and it really meant that too. You don't get to see a lot of fighters that have that nice package shown behind them. Like that was a really nice send off. And I guess because they knew it was her last fight. But I mean, most fighters don't get that. So I was very happy for her. Oh, we got Dan Ige ready to go. Awesome.
Oh yeah, man. What a warrior that guy is.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dan.
Yo,
How you doing, sir?
Okay, warrior.
what up, guys?
How are
Come
you?
on, man, dude. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off for you right now, dude. You are the guy. No, you
Okay,
leave your hat
fine.
on. You
Oh,
can
I
put
don't
your,
think-
whatever you want to do. Promote, make that money. Hey, listen, dude. As a guy that used to be in there, I give you all the credit in the world, dude. Shoot. I do, to get ready for a fight, I start off with 2-minute rounds and I work my way back up to fight like that on hours notice. It's kind of insane. And was there what was going through? I know you said it a million times, but
Yep.
you got the phone call or you put it out there?
I got the phone call. I was about 3 weeks out from. I had a bout scheduled, so I was about 3 weeks out. So you feel pretty good, right?
Yeah.
3 weeks out from a fight, you're things are starting to. You're feeling good in sparring. Your weight's coming down. You're starting to get more confident. You
Yeah.
see yourself in the mirror, like the work's paying off, right? So I'm sitting there Saturday, into my week. I had my training. Always a hard training week. So Saturday is kind of the last hard day. I taper down, rest Sunday, get ready for Monday. So I trained Saturday morning and I'm thinking in my head, recovery. Let's recover, get ready for Monday. So I'm getting a massage and dude, I had 10 missed calls from the UFC, Ali, just a bunch of people. My mom, like I don't know, they went as far as to contacting my mom and my wife. My wife comes upstairs and finally I grab my phone into my massage. They're like, hey, do you want to fight Lopez? And in my mind, I'm thinking like, hey, in a couple weeks, main event, something like, oh, that's a big fight. So I'm like, yeah, sure. They're like, no, it's tonight. Can you step in tonight? And I knew it was such an urgent matter. There's really no time to sit there and think about it or like get my coach's opinions or nothing. And then I just made I trusted my instinct right there. Like, dude, let's do it. It's never been done. This is legendary. So I call up Eric Nixick and just to tell him we're fighting. And I showed interest. I didn't think it would actually happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
I just I want to be in the company's favor. So yeah, let's do it. I'll be that guy. And then they call me back. They're like, pack your bags. So I'm like, oh shit, it's happening. I'm like looking for shit in the house, like my mouthpiece and cup. And that's all you need, right? A mouthpiece and a cup. I always have to remind myself. I'm like, what do I need? What do I need? Mouthpiece, cup. And we got everything. And literally within hours, we're in the arena getting wrapped up and going to war.
What was the mindset difference between normally when you're leading up to a fight? I'm sure you guys go through all of these different mental states as you're getting ready to fight and as the day is approaching. What was it like having all of this just kind of cut out and you have 4 hours to prepare?
You know what? In a way, it was like, it felt natural. Just like, it's like at school, like you don't have a fight planned out for 8 weeks. You get in a beef with someone. Hey, you're fighting at 3 p.m. at, in the upper field courtyards or whatever, that's kind of what it felt like. I got that notice and like, I got that initial like nervous, excitedness, scared, all those thoughts. And at the end of the day, I was like, dude, there's no time to go out there and think. That's why I didn't even like think about putting together like a game plan. Cause at that, I love studying film and like finding, creating game plans and all that. And my coaches do a great job at that. But at that point, I can't go sit there and study this guy's tape and try to find all his holes. I've seen him fight, numerous times. I know where he's good. I know where he's dangerous. So for me, it was like, hey, just go out there, be in the moment and trust in your 15 years of training. I've seen everything. we train every day. This is our life. So that's kind of that was my mindset, was go in there and have some fun too, because rarely do I allow myself to have fun, so I was like, try not to put too much pressure on myself. And I had fun.
What's really nice about the way it worked out is your stock, even though you didn't get the W, it not only did it not go down, it went up. Which is very strange, and you don't usually get that with a loss. And because it was such a great fight, everybody respects what you do. But listen, respected what you did. But if you still showed up and didn't show up, you're just a guy with balls. Now you're a guy that's a hell of a fight on hours' notice. So again, man, it's kind of like a win in a weird way. You walk out of that cage feeling like a loser, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like I hate moral victories, but this one is different. Like just the going through what I went through, and Diego's a stud, and he has a massive fan base. And exactly, if I went in there and just laid down for the guy or got choked out and tapped out in round one, it's different. Yeah, I got balls, I stepped up, but to go out, go through a little adversity and come back and like literally break the dude in round 3, like he broke.
Third round,
he broke. And as a week's passed, you go back, fuck, I should have done that, or could have done that, or would have done that. It doesn't matter. I remember at the end of the third, I was like, man, I probably lost on the scorecards, and I had a decision to be bummed or, just smile, dude. Just smile and embrace this moment. Rogan's like, hey, stay right there. I'm going to interview you. Never happens, right? The amount of media requests, fans, like you said, my stock, I feel like it's skyrocketed in a way.
Yeah.
When you stepped into what did you guys say to each other? Because like he also, I think, was planning for 145 and then 155. Like he had a crazy day too. Like he also stepped up and had to deal with you on short notice. It wasn't just you dealing with him. He had to deal with you on short notice. And he took the fight, and you guys were the co-main event. You did something together. There must have been that feeling of like, wow, we really fucking put it together. Both of us in different ways. What did you say to each other after the fight?
I mean, I just told him I give him mad props and massive respect. I do respect him massively, because just the amount of the roller coaster that he had to go through. Your opponent's sick. Hey, can we go up a weight? You're already on 140. You're on weight, ready to weigh in. Go 155. The whole triple weigh-in thing. He just showed up whatever he weighed on, what he was planning to weigh. But I just told him nothing but respect, and he has a ton of he has a bright future if he just keeps doing the right thing. And but that's a guy we were looking at for a long time. Like, hey, this guy's got a lot of hype. Like, I want that. I want to take that from him. And so he was like an opponent that was in her head. And I think that was a fight that it's a big fighting me is a big risk, and the reward at the time, right? The reward's not as high. I'm more of a soft-spoken kind of stay in my own lane type of guy. I'm dangerous, though. I've never been finished, and to take a fight, that's a big risk on his part. So I give him a ton of credit and respect, because he's not a lot of people do that. I'm sure he got paid. I'm sure there were some negotiations, but aside from the money, like that, he did take a big ballsy risk, and so did I. So I don't know. It all worked out. We both grew from it.
It felt like there was no losers in that one,
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
And that's not a usual feeling in this game,
Yeah. And the fans appreciated it. Like everyone kind of knew what happened. The whole arena seemed to be very aware that both of you guys took fights that you didn't have to take just to make the show great. And it seemed like the whole arena appreciated what both of you guys did.
Yeah, it really did, man. Like I said, the reception from 18 plus, almost 19,000 fans, like literally every single person was on their feet when I got to, they gave me an interview, and it just felt good to it's like I won a world title, and they're just raging for me. And I'm like, but I lost. Yeah, dude, it's history now. So, I'm proud. I'm proud to hold that title. I don't know if anyone will ever get that chance to do that, because the stars really did have to align perfectly for it all to work out. Being in Vegas, medical's done, governor approved. Like it went through. There was a lot that happened for this to happen.
Now, you just battled what about that fight that was in a few weeks? Is that not happening now? What goes on now?
Yeah, they already booked. So I had like 3 opponents fall out. I was fighting my 3rd replacement opponent. They ended up just booking him with someone else.
Right.
You know, it was on my mind, but I'm like, my leg's a little beat up and sore. It's
Yeah,
like,
dude, I get
dude,
it, man. Yeah.
dude kicked me hard. And I'm like, I just fought at the sold out T-Mobile Arena, and I was like, I didn't really want to go back to the Apex and fight. You know,
I got
we'll
you,
just,
bro. Hey,
but
man,
again, it's a payday, so it's like, maybe if I wake up Saturday on the 20th, I feel like it, we'll jump in there.
somebody else gets hurt. Yeah.
And Dana was very, very appreciative of what you guys did, and he said he'll do anything for both of you guys. So basically, Dana kind of owes you a favor, which is what position all of us want to be in, where Dana owes us a favor. What do you think you want your next move to be if you know that you could go to him with something reasonable and he would really try to make it happen?
A yacht. Sorry.
Dude, I'm like, you guys, everyone I talk to is really thinking outside the box. They're talking about yachts and the BMWs. I'm like, damn, I didn't even think that far. I'm just thinking of like, just give me another fight.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let me just start. Like, first, it did feel good to have like that recognition from Dana. It's not that I never like felt. I don't know. I never really felt the love, from Dana that I felt that night. And he was always like nice to me in person. Like, he'd be like, "What's up, kid?" But I always just felt like kind of the cold shoulder from stating back to like Contender Series, even looking for a fighter. Remember you were there, Matt? We fought CFFC in California, and I had a good show. I probably beat the dude up like 30-25 on the scorecards, but it wasn't the most exciting fight, and I wasn't excited. Like, I wasn't really happy with my performance. And Dan was like, "Yeah, good fight, kid, whatever." And then we fought Contender Series. I thought I put on a great performance, finished the dude, didn't get signed. Hunter Campbell ended up signing me, months later. That's why I have a great relationship with Hunter. But throughout all those years, I kind of used that as like a little bit like to fuel my ego. Like, hey, I got to earn Dana's respect somehow, or like F Dana, whatever, So I would always kind of use that fuel to push me to do greater things. But to finally actually have a conversation, even when I walked in the arena that night, like saving the co-main event, it's like Dana didn't like seem too fond of, like, he just said, "You're crazy." That's all. He's like, "You guys are crazy." And then after the fight, was like, man, massive props, respect. We talked. And yeah, the compliments and stuff he gave at the post-fight interview was nice. So what will I use? I don't know, dude. I think if I was to use anything, I know I can ask for materialistic things, but just another opportunity like the Sphere. I think that's a massive fight card, a massive sports spectacle, call it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it, and more eyeballs bring more exposure, brings more opportunities. So that's what I'm looking at, and I'm going to start gearing up for that. But if I was to fight anyone there, I would love to fight Yair Rodriguez at the Sphere.
That would be a fucking fight.
What a great fight. And I have a question about the Sphere. Sorry, Matt. Are you guys, are they able to move it where there's people all around you, or is there just going to be a screen behind you because those seats are not movable?
Bro, I've never been in there. I've only seen like footage of like concerts. It looks insane. I don't know if the seats actually move. I don't know how it's not going to be a distraction too to like the fighters. You're like walking out and you're like tripping out, just looking around at the ceiling, and hopefully I'm not on my back.
Right. Or if there's a screen right behind you, does that affect what you're seeing coming at you? Does looking up, does a screen affect you at all?
Yeah, fucking vertigo.
Yeah, for real, get some like epilepsy or some shit. I don't know. I think you just got to be in the moment with those type of, like, take it, you see it, but you're not like fixated on it. So
yeah, man, shoot. And just for the record, I was fucking around with asking for a yacht. I'm only fucking right.
You're like, fair question though.
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy anyway.
Yeah.
You're a surfing guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
You like to surf. You do that still regularly,
I mean, I live in Vegas now, so there's not really much water out here. It's 120 degrees.
He's like, no, nuts. I live in Vegas. I forgot you. All right, yeah, but you when you are in the like wherever, Brazil or wherever, Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii. So I grew up surfing. My whole life pretty much skating, surfing. It's kind of my first like love before fighting, and then somehow fighting kind of ties in with surfing because dudes cut you off. You're like, fuck, I got to fight. Yeah, it's just kind of part of the culture. So then I got into fighting, and here we are.
Wait, surfers fight each other for like cutting you off? Like in the, how does that work when you're surfing?
What do you think, Howie?
Well, yeah, it's just like, it's more of like a local thing. Like if you got to give like the locals their respect, especially out in the lineup. If that's like, if you're, born and raised on the North Shore of Hawaii, and you're surfing that break your whole life, then you got some people coming in from Brazil or California. It's like, you got to earn you got to earn your spot in the lineup at some places. So it's just kind of how, it's just part of the culture.
I can see it. Jimmy, whatever you do, don't go out there with a huge big board and your Speedos and thinking you're going to get your ass kicked. I'm telling you right. He's doing some jiu-jitsu now, Danny. So I don't want him thinking he owns the beach over in fucking Honolulu. That's not Jimmy. It don't work like that, guy.
Well, I didn't even know there was a line. Like, so wait a minute. You guys have a line when you go out? I thought everybody just went out whenever they felt like it.
I mean, you do, but, especially at like, it depends where, right? If we're surfing Pipeline, one of the most renowned breaks in the world, you're gonna have your few like hardcore, diehard local guys out there in the lineup, and you just gotta know. And if you don't know, you I don't want to steal Dana's.
Yeah, well,
but if you don't know, you'll find out.
Jimmy, they'd call you a little howly and give you a wedgie. That's what would happen to you, right or wrong?
What's a howly? Is that a good thing?
Am I saying it the right way?
Yeah, you said it right.
Damn right, Jimmy.
What is a howly?
Yeah, that means you're a fucking, you're not an islander, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right. I'd be a howly too. I don't go near the ocean. Jimmy.
Well, Dan, look, congratulations on that. I mean, and a really awesome fight. Like you said, that third round, I think was so impressive because obviously you were coming off, you were training, but coming off a guy like Diego Lopes, to have two really good rounds and then to come back and win the third round like you did, it was really, really even more impressive than the first two, which were great.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you fight again, man. And I think you probably got more respect from Dana than you think. Maybe he just doesn't always display it the way you think, but you never would have been in that position to take that fight if they didn't feel really positive about you and really respect you.
And you have some fantastic wins, but what really feels odd is I feel like you're getting a ton of exposure and a lot of props from this fight. So, which is great. It's kind of weird, but it's great. You know what I mean?
It is, because it's like literally like no knockout in the Apex can top this. So
True.
this was it was different, and part of the reason why I did it, I just felt called to do it, and I got paid too. That's nice, but aside from the money, just this can't be bought, this status.
100%, dude.
So
congrats on that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dan. We'll talk to you again before your next fight. And you were great, man, and I'm really happy for you.
All right, fellas. Good talking to you guys.
All right,
buddy. Take care, Dan.
Take care, Warrior. Hey, Jimmy, man, my apologies for the beginning of the show. You know what it is? I cut things close to the wire normally, and I got my daughter with me, and she's fine. She's like a little sidekick. Sure. But normally when I get home, I got my oldest daughter already signing me in, and my wife making my coffee. So we're a few Sarahs short.
So basically, you had two Sarahs doing the work of four Sarahs.
I'm going to say that's correct, Jimmy.
I understand. I understand completely. But it worked out. We knew I'm in a hotel. I don't know if you can tell. I'm not on my normal setup without my screen.
Oh.
I'm kind of, we were talking before, this is something that's really not that interesting, but like the backgrounds are so much better than they used to be because, let me see, this is where I'm at right now. I'm in there's my setup.
Oh, wow. All right, go back now because that looks really nice, Jimmy.
No.
Jimmy,
I want to leave that.
Jimmy, look, I see that there's an open beer in the background there. You had a little party last night, huh?
Well,
You and the missus?
I don't drink beer.
Oh well, yours. Sober is cool.
She's an alcoholic, but I don't drink.
Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
What was I going to say?
And Wednesday we have Ponzinibbio and Drew Dober, which is a great show on Wednesday. And I guess we will preview the card because Muslim Salikov is fighting Santiago as the co-main, and of course the feature bout is Drew Dober against John Silva. A great card with Rose and Tracy Cortez as the main. So we can promote all of that on Wednesday. And we got it done, Matt. We both had technical difficulties. Dan Ige was great. Michelle Waterson-Gomez, congratulations.
Jimmy, I had a great time. I feel like there's more I want to talk to you about. But you know what? We're going to do that in a couple of days. There's a lot about this. We'll make the show a late. We're going to put an extra 15 minutes into the show. All right, now I'm getting ahead of myself.
And I'll say this before we go. And Jake is pointing this out. Dan did talk about the Sphere, and I forgot this. Aljo is saying he wants to fight Diego Lopes on that card. That's a fight I would really love to see.
That would be a grappler's delight.
Yeah, that's a fight that I really hope that they can make happen.
Jimmy, I can't wait for a couple of days.
Well, it'll feel like a week, but it'll only be a couple of days.
Hey, thank you, everyone. And Jimmy, we're going to have so much fun, just like we did today.
Well, let's hope.
Bye, Jimmy. Safe travels, huh? Safe travels.
Yeah, I fly home tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.